Hello and welcome. This is Mouse Gunner, and we're back with some more Prison Architect, returning to the Gangland prison. Looks like we have some violence going on in the common area, as the gang is the usual culprit. Don't know if we've lost anybody guard-wise. I don't think so, but it's pretty close. Some of these guards have been seriously injured. I also have started to... Oh, okay. We've got more violence going on over here. I'm also in the process of... Oh, yeah, and the gang. Looks like we're in the process of evicting them there, and I started the process of evicting them over here just before I started the recording of the video, so... Alright, very interesting. And unfortunately, this guard is in trouble. Jeez, we got even more violence happening over here. Well, these guys are all going to get locked up into solitary for a very long time. And we'll probably have our solitary cells completely full. And as far as I know, nobody died. Oh, we are going pretty slow speed here, though. Oh, and one thing I need to do is, under deployment, make sure that we have staff only in that area. We need to make sure that nobody's getting anything from outside. Yeah. Yeah, I thought I'd close that off, but I forgot to make it staff only, so... That's the issue that we're having right now. Alright. Take a look at the needs and how we're meeting them. Recreation is still a problem, but our common rooms continue to be a war zone, so that's made things problematic for sure. And I do have a fair amount of cash. How are the programs going? They're still not really where they need to be. Alright, well. This guy's been sitting here on the wall for quite a while. Anyone gonna take care of this guy? Anyone? Bueller? Well, right now we have... Our guards are kind of... overwhelmed. I'm half tempted to hire a guard here just to make sure this guy gets moved. Or is he, like, in a wall where nobody can get to him? Oh, there we go. Alright, well, we'll hire one more guard just to balance things, but... Okay, so let me take a look at that intelligence again. Alright, so we knocked them out of the common room. But they keep taking possession of the common rooms. And I really don't know if I'm going to be able to hold them off. I mean, I've got a fair amount of deployment, but they're still able to take it, it looks like. Alright, well, go ahead and advance time even further. And honestly... Okay, so there's suspected tunnel here. Yeah, I don't know if searching the cell really does it. I think you actually have to take out... Well, you know what? I'll try it. Search cell, search cell. Search cell. And search cell. Will just be Sure. All right. They didn't find anything. I'm also thinking about maybe getting more armed guards. At the moment, we're maxed out, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I can't get more. I think I'm maxed out for dogs. Yeah, I am. I love how the dishes there are phasing through the wall. Alright, but the mess areas seem like they're being serviced much better than they were in the past. We don't have a lot of dishes sitting around. Meals look like they're getting to the different canteens, alright? I still have a lot of areas that need finishing. But I don't want to blow too much cash on that because I would like to expand the prison. But to be honest with you, I don't think that's really going to happen unless I do the grants here. And again, I don't have any control over when this happens. For whatever reason, we got up to 8 beds completed and days have passed and we haven't completed any more. Alright, well, it just must be a singular incidence of violence there because... Although I'm hearing tasers going off quite a lot. Let me take a look now at the gangs. They still have control over this, but we're getting to evicting them. As you can see, their gang members are pretty much all in solitary, although they're getting out now. So we might have issues with them, but maybe during the sleep period we can get the rest of their ownership down and take care of that, but it takes quite a while to truly evict them, so you're pretty much guaranteed some violence. Alright, well, let's take a look at the grading system. So, reform is up to 4, which I think is an improvement. Punishment is up to 9, which is also an improvement. Security, I think, is about the same, and health is about the same. So we've improved in some categories, and 14% reoffending rate. Pretty good. What's the prison value now? It's been sitting around $500,000, so not much different there. Alright, so we can have intake of 5 prisoners. I'm hoping I didn't miss that. Okay, good. One thing I'm going to do, I think, is get more windows going. So we'll do that. These are, you know, fairly inexpensive. Well, I say that, it's $200 a piece. But I can... Oops. Alright. But we get a little bit closer to finishing off the prison. And I think that is all the windows I need. I think all the other cell blocks have them. It looks like I did change where I put the windows in some cell blocks. Oh well. It's not really important. What's important is they have a window. Let's see now with the informants. Do we have any more drops going on? Looks like no. So I think that one change I made may have addressed that. We're almost done with the... Yeah, there it goes. I was about to say, we're almost done with that, but I wonder when the violence is going to start. All right, well. Intake can drop back down to 2, it looks like. All right, that violence wasn't too bad. Not compared to other times we've had the gangs kind of fight us over the eviction. And usually I get a good indicator of when they take over an area because they more or less fight the guards the second they take it over, so I know when to evict them. All right. So the problem I'm seeing is programs. Is anybody doing the carpentry apprenticeship? Yes, there are people doing a carpentry apprenticeship, but for some reason, I don't see any more beds being made. That could be that just the high amount of quality is why that is more of an issue. Just taking a look at the logistics. All right, well, I'm going to do some finishing here and there over time. I'd like to finish this office, for instance. Oh, guess what happened? Gang. Evict. There we go. Now I'm wondering, did they still get it? No. Okay, so we were able to fight them back and make sure that they didn't get it in the first place. So as long as we're able to jump on top of these instances and not actually allow them to take the area, I think we can keep them out of it. All right, well, that's much better, I think. I almost wonder if I got lucky there and there were just a bunch of guards in the area just by happenstance. One thing I do want to take a look at is the guard patrols. Alright, so that's probably a good patrol route. I don't have anything going down up and down here, but I don't know if we necessarily need it. And intake is going to remain at 2, it looks like. But as long as I fail to get these grants, I think we're going to get stalled out here. And this is actually making me almost think about putting a halt to the series, because not a whole lot of progress is being made at this point. The prison is pretty much constructed. All that I really have left to do is just finish some areas, put in flooring here and there. For the most part, that's about it. We have all the windows in, so that would really honestly be it. Now, that would cost me a lot of money, and it'd take a lot of time to do, but eventually I could probably grind that out. But I just think, as far as the series standpoint goes, we're really stagnant with these grants not really completing. Now, I could force through cell block D. All I would need to do is bring up my prisoner capacity up to 23, and honestly, I could even do that temporarily and, you know, cheese the system to do that. Now, the most effective way of doing that would be going through here and getting the small cells. Of course, this is very expensive, and I can't really necessarily afford it, but that would be one way to do it easily, and then I could just quickly convert the solitary cells into cells, and what we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Although they probably have to be legal, which I don't know if I could make something that small legal. Alternatively, I could just very quickly buy some bunk beds, change these into dorms, and double their capacity, but not actually use the capacity, and then just get rid of the bunk beds. Now, that would be a big waste of money, and I've already seen selling items. I've never been able to get to work, so as long as I am seeing a weird blinking going on over here. I don't know what that was all about. I don't know. It's just as far as I see it, I don't think I'm going to be really getting much further with this series. So this may very well be the last video. Unless I manage to get those grants finished. But the problem is, alright, so we have people coming in here and working. But watch. None of them are working on the carpentry table. 0. So I'm never going to get a bed finished because nobody ever works on this. So it's kind of, you know, moot. There's not a whole lot I can do with that if nobody ever works on it. And it could be, let me just see. I want to check something. Programs. Edit schedule. Are we having an issue? Because there is a carpentry apprenticeship. It shouldn't be happening at the same time, so there should be no issue. Now wait, so we just had some violence. Let me check to see if there's anything going on with the gangs. Not that I can tell. Although maybe they tried to take this area and they failed. Which is why the violence happened, I would guess. Now, I could take a loan, but the amount of money I need to expand is just so high. I don't know if that's likely to succeed. Another thing I could do is I could work to get the valuation of my prison up as high as I can, but as far as I can tell, adding in those windows did absolutely nothing to improve the valuation of my prison. So really, just getting more cash would probably end up with me having more money. So matter of fact, this flooring, I think, was also wasted money. So I don't think we're going to get the prison to be worth anymore, honestly, as it is. Not unless I get more cash, obviously, and that would take a lot of time. And it looks like intake can go up higher. Now, I've never had anyone here from MaxSec. Like, getting actual legitimate MaxSec people has been turned off. Now, maybe if I actually turned it up, we would start getting MaxSec people, but far as I can tell, there's none to actually get into the prison. Again, that could be just the way I've set up the ratio. Oh, good. We have more violence over here. I honestly think that increasing the punishment for attacking a guard has pretty much gotten rid of a lot of the issues we've had with the gangs, because every time they attack me, they lose all of their strength. Whereas before, they were only getting a couple hours of punishment. So they'd go and attack me, get in the hole for a couple hours, and then they'd come right back out and attack me again. Now they're in there for 12 hours. They're in there for most of the day. So every time they do one of these assaults, they lose massive amount of strength. And they also lose some of their more volatile members. And also some of the more volatile members are on a different schedule than the rest of the gang. So I think those combination of things probably is what helped limit the gangs taking over areas and kept them out of it. Let's see if our informants are picking up anything. So no more drop-offs of contraband, from what I can tell. And if they're not getting contraband in, then they don't. They're even less able to get contraband in. Like cell phones is what helps them get contraband, because they use the cell phones to call someone, and then that's where they get their drop happening. If they can't get a drop, they can't get the contraband in. Also, the change with the visitation center prevents, or at least reduces, the chance of items coming from inside, or outside and getting inside the prison from visitors. There is still a possibility that people will smuggle supplies through cargo shipments and things like that. But as long as we do shakedowns every so often, we'll limit that stuff. I think it's a little too late in the day to do a shakedown, but I think overall the prison is kind of in a stable place now, and I don't really see or foresee running into really any problems now that we've gotten the contraband under control and the violence under control. And that's one of the reasons why I'm thinking about ending the series. Yeah, I could build the prison over here more, and there are plans that I would have for that construction. For one, I've already discussed making a Supermax prison and just putting all of the gang members in that so I don't have to deal with them anymore. But then that would just make the game, obviously, even more easy for me, because then I don't have to deal with some of the most volatile and destructive of the prisoners. So now I do have ideas of what I'd like to do for a new series as well, which I may start. I'm not exactly sure when I would start that, though, because there's some other series that I am wanting to do. But in the future, I have game plan for having a new prison setup and a new idea for a prison, very different from this one, that I think would be pretty interesting. And I'll probably use this prison to build that next one and give us a little bit more cash than we had to work with, at least initially, than I did in the with this playthrough from the first prison. And with what I have planned, I'll definitely need the cash, so but I think, honestly, at this point, playing through is just proving the stability of the prison. As every day we get about 3 or so people being let out. Oop. Every so often we have gang violence that we need to take a look at. For instance, they're trying to get in here, so we're actively evicting them. And there they go. And see, once we jump on their attacks on these areas, they're shut down for 12 hours now. They can't cause trouble anywhere else in the prison. They can't try and take over a yard somewhere or any of that. They're now shut down. So I think these changes have pretty much made the gangs. There's still a problem, and there's always a threat that maybe they'll be able to tackle a guard and kill that guard and take weapons and start causing a lot of issues. But for the meantime, it seems like they're a problem every so often. We deal with the problem. They end up in solitary. Now, they are filling up my solitary quite a lot, and that's a little bit of an issue because it limits how much I can punish prisoners, as there's only really a couple cells open to other prisoners that are going to be punished. So we probably have a lot of prisoners that are waiting to be punished that are not getting punished because of how many solitary cells we have. I could always just expand that number. I don't really have room for it, but I could always maybe figure out how to do that with what room I have. So it can be done. Matter of fact, I could probably stick some solitary over here. I would prefer not to, but... But as you can see, we have that little bit of violence. It goes away, and we don't have to deal with it for the rest of the day. Whereas before, when I just kept the punishments on the default, it was a lot more of a problem. And again, informants have nothing to tell me, or drops or anything like that, because we've pretty much taken away the ability for them to get those things. Then we have some more violence here. And then that's it. So again, the gang members are attempting, these are all gang members, are attempting to take over this area, but they keep failing now. They're not succeeding anywhere. So I think that's a good sign. In any case, I think ooh, we actually have somebody working on the carpentry table. But I think we're still looking at 8 beds out of 10. So days and days and days have passed with that being the number. And yeah, it's good to see somebody actually working the carpentry table, but we're just not getting that progress. In any case, I think I'm going to go ahead and call the episode here. And I think I'm going to put an end to the series. I've really enjoyed it. I've learned quite a lot. First off, where you even find the visitor boosts, which is something I couldn't find for quite a while, and I never really thought to look at utilities and find it there. And I've learned pretty much how the mechanics of the gangs work and how to keep track of that. Now, if in the future series, I don't know if I'm going to do gangs or not. I'm going to have to think about it and how appropriate it would be for the theme, because when I play games like this, I like to give myself a theme or objective or a role-playing scenario, I guess is a better way of putting it, for each playthrough. That's what keeps it fun for me, so that I can play it again and again, and it has a lot of replayability by doing that. I have the same thing with, for instance, Hearts of Iron. What keeps that game interesting for me and allows me to do replay it in general is coming up with some theme or some role-playing element to work with. So I'm doing the same thing with Prison Architect, and I have plans for the next series as well. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. This is Mouse Gunner, signing out.